70% of malware today is delivered by email. It's easy for them. You have to think like a bad guy, right? You have to understand that what they're doing is taking low-hanging fruit.
Steve Mulhearn is Director of Enhanced Technologies at Fortinet. Steve is an expert on cybersecurity and has spent the last 6 months working as the sole supplier of cyber intelligence to the US government. He joins us now on Cloud Moves TV. Steve, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Real pleasure to have you on.
No problem at all. More than welcome.
Now, our dependence on connected technology is growing really fast, faster than our ability to ever secure it. In your opinion, is it possible to ever be fully secure?
So I think we have to be realistic about it, and the answer is probably no. However, you do have to put a couple of caveats in there. I think we have to make a best effort as much as we possibly can. We have to understand and be realistic that most of these devices were not built with any security in mind. What they were built for was functionality and connectivity. So therefore, we have to understand what level of risk they pose to us. And that's something that an awful lot of businesses don't understand. And I think they have to start taking that into account. We understand, anything from a vending machine to a till has got connectivity. But what risk does that pose to the business if I put it into my infrastructure? That's what they have to start thinking about.
Steve, how much should our governments see online?
That's a tough one, isn't it? It is. And I've had that question many times before. I think, for realistic, there is a security element, there's an anti-terrorism, and there's a law enforcement level that I think they should have access to, and it's legitimate requirements for that. But I think there's also a certain level of privacy that we have to take into account. If I'm not breaking the law, if I've never broken the law and have no intention of breaking the law, what level of intrusion should they have on me? I think that's a realistic,
Steve, what can we learn from the biggest hacks and breaches that have happened this year?
So I think what we are learning is very much point solutions are becoming less effective. So, multiple vendors, lots of different solutions from lots of different vendors. The bad guys actually talk better than we do. That's what we have to take into account. So if they're talking better than we do, we should have our solutions talking to each other. Unfortunately, if you're looking at multiple vendors, that's really tough to do. What we are seeing is that an awful lot of corporates out there today, what they're requesting from us is a cohesive approach, a fabric. Lots of these solutions talking to each other seamlessly and easily.
Absolutely. And Steve, what weak spots in business infrastructure are cyber criminals most commonly exploiting?
So the easiest one, and still 70% of malware today, is delivered by email. It's easy for them. You have to think like a bad guy, right? You have to understand that what they're doing is taking low-hanging fruit. Mail is really easy to deliver. I can deliver lots of email to lots of people with the hope somebody's going to click on a link, somebody's going to download that malware. That is really tough. That's one of the weakest parts. But what we're seeing more and more is endpoint. So when somebody isn't in the office, what are they doing at home, and are they bringing bad content into my corporate environment? Those are the two weakest points.
Absolutely. And Steve, just one very last question. What would you say to those individuals who haven't been able to attend IP EXPO today and are thinking of coming next year? What would you say to those people?
So I think the great thing about IP EXPO, and I've seen it this year especially, is the diversity. They're not just talking about security, it is about cloud, and it's about what is taking front of stage, what's emerging and emerging technologies. If you want to get visibility on that, come to the show.
Fantastic. Steve, thank you so much. That's Steve Mulhearn. He's Director of Enhanced Technologies at Fortinet. Speaking to us here, I'm Emma Boyle, and this is Cloud Moves TV.